I know how I'm going to start this.
Did he? Do it?
I'm going to start smoking cigarettes again.
What kind?
It would be between Camel Lights and Parliaments. And I got the idea from the show Landman. Have you been watching that?
No, what is that?
It's on Paramount.
Yeah, I don't watch that.
You know, it's with Billy Bob Thornton.
Okay.
So he's smoking cigarettes. He only takes roles that he can smoke cigarettes, so then he can live his normal life.
That's so funny.
But it looks so cool. Smoking cigarettes is really cool. It's so cool. And I used to smoke cigarettes. And did I ever tell you about how I quit smoking cigarettes?
I don't think so.
And what happened?
Wait. Oh yes, you did tell me. Remember you told me that story?
Yeah.
Yes.
That one time I had hepatitis, and listen, I didn't ever have hepatitis, but I thought I did, and I had a doctor who prescribed me a drug called Wellbutrin, and the Wellbutrin, I didn't. It was he gave it to me for anxiety, but it turns out it's also an anti-smoking deal. Right. And because I suddenly stopped, anyways, you know the story. I convinced myself and ruined my life for years, but I never smoked cigarettes again. And then I started watching this movie or this show called Landman, and he's like an oil cowboy and stuff like that. He like works on the oil fields and whatever, and he's always smoking a cigarette. And I'm like, God damn. I miss cigarettes, and once in a while, I'll get a whiff, and I'm like, I want one.
Yeah, on TV it looks really good.
It looks really good.
It just like man, it looks so cool, and it looks like it tastes good.
I know.
Yeah.
And I'll smoke a raunchy cigar like all day long. Like I could wake up, brush my teeth, and start smoking a cigar, and I do it like all the time, and I love smoke. But the thing is people are like, oh well, you'll get lung cancer. No, you won't. I truly believe that cancer doesn't come from
smoking.
No, it comes from your food.
Yeah. And I can see that. I mean, think about it. When I was backpacking for 6 months in Asia, a lot of Europeans are visiting, and everyone's smoking cigarettes. Like everybody's smoking cigarettes. So why isn't cancer this big old thing in those countries, right? It's mainly over here. And like you said, right, it's because I know when I'm traveling, the food is healthier everywhere you go. So these people are smoking daily too.
Yep.
And like
all day.
Chain smoking.
Yep.
It's just what they do. It's part of the culture. But yet these people aren't getting cancer as often as people out here.
Yeah. And I also want to get rid of the vape. So it's like, how do I get rid of the vape? Well, I can't just quit something. I have to replace it. I'm not like a normal person.
Do you vape right now?
Yeah.
Oh, you do vape too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
a hard one.
I know.
Good luck.
I figure just take up the cigarettes.
Just replace it.
Yeah.
But then you do both.
I will, because I'll be sitting at my desk, and I think vapes are gonna give me cancer way before a cigarette will.
Oh, for sure, because all the chemicals that are in the vape. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. You can smoke like natural spirits. Aren't those like natural?
I mean, the word's in it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Dude, vape is hard. I had to literally get a stomach virus from eating Carolina Reaper chili raw to quit vaping.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Well, I didn't plan on it happening.
Oh, I was like, someone's like, this is how you quit vaping?
No, so I love chili, like hot food, like, the dopamine rush. So I bought some Carolina Reapers, and I made salsa out of it. And it was too hot to the point where my body started rejecting it. And so my stomach got so fucked up. I couldn't go to the restroom. I was in excruciating pain. And because of that, like my mind didn't want to vape. Like I didn't even think about it.
Right.
And so after like a week went by of excruciating pain, I was like, oh shit, I didn't vape for a week.
Yeah. The truth is you got hepatitis.
Well, yeah, probably. Hepatitis, AIDS, something like that. But, but nobody's counting, right?
No one's counting. This is, you know what's funny is we've actually never done this, have we?
No, we haven't.
It's crazy. Every conversation that we have could be a podcast.
100%.
And we've never sat down. Like you've been on the show.
Yeah.
But not just you and me.
Right. It was 3 of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think of the studio?
This studio right here?
Yeah.
Well, I think the space is beautiful. You got the good lighting.
It's small, but I think when we're done with it, this is temporary.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
When you guys upgrade this place, which you are, this space is perfect. And when you see people's studios that they set up, that looks great. It's like a small room. So the fact that you have so much room, you can do so much more with it.
Yeah. I got a shower. I got a whole deal.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's great. So what's new with you?
Man, I mean, this past month has probably been the craziest month of my life.
I've been seeing.
Yeah, you know, from being in a music video to getting offered to be in another music video, to be flown out to Rhode Island, then being
it's beautiful Rhode Island.
Yeah, right.
But no, it's really cool though.
Yeah.
So are you doing it again with what's his name, Gremlin?
Yeah.
So the second one with him.
Yeah, so the first one was with him playing a cholo.
I saw that.
And the way it happened too was the person that's supposed to play that character bailed on him last minute. So he asked me if I can do it.
Oh.
And so I got the opportunity, and his fans love me so much. His producer was like, "We need this guy in all the videos."
No, you did a great job. I actually watched it too, and I don't like underground hip hop that much. Some people, but he's okay. The song's okay. But I like him.
Yeah.
I met him.
Yeah, you did at the show. Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. He was actually following you before that.
Oh, was he?
On Instagram. Yeah, because I saw him like,
now I like him. Now I like him a lot more. Sorry, Gremlin. I like you a lot. No, I'm just not you know me. I'm not really much of a hip hop guy.
Yeah.
I like hip hop. Don't get me wrong, and I could probably school most people on the topic, but just not my style.
Yeah.
But I do like him. I like his message. He's in recovery as well.
He's not in recovery, but his mom was a meth addict and his brother was a heroin addict.
So he's like an Al-Anon kind of guy.
Yeah. So
Cool.
he's been on that side of it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So he's pretty outspoken.
Yeah, that's why all his music's about that.
Sober? Is he sober?
No. I don't think he has a problem.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's lucky.
Yeah, that's really great.
So from the music videos and then to getting on Soft White Underbelly, which is crazy.
Tell me about what's the reason for the name of that?
So Soft White Underbelly was a term. Let's see if I can remember. He said on Joe Rogan. I think that's a term back in the day people used to say for like, I think like something that's imperfect or broken. That's was back in the day they used to say that term for it. And, he's a photographer, and so he used that term because that's what he's showing, right? He's portraying the other side of humanity.
I see.
The dark side of what happens to humans, what humans are capable of. And that's where the name came from.
They put you on a stool on it.
Yeah.
How's that?
It was cool.
You liked it?
Yeah, I think I was just so excited to be on it.
Yeah. Is that how they all
are?
are? They have you posted up on a stool?
So basically you walk in, he takes a photo of you on this one section of the studio, right? Mm-hmm. And then he has you sit on the stool, and it's a boom mic above you, and then one camera looking
no
towards you.
lavalier or anything like that, just straight
mic.
The boom.
And then he sits
and
on the ground.
audio was really good too.
And he sits on the ground with this thing literally sitting on the ground, and then you just talk to him. Yeah.
And he's off camera.
He's off camera, yeah.
Interesting. And he just does he give you layups? Is that how? Because I was watching it and then I saw some clips from it. I haven't had, this last 2 weeks has been a fucking nightmare for me. So not a nightmare. It's actually been really good.
Right. Just busy.
Other than the one chick I blew up on. But other than that, it's been a really good week, but it's just been like in JT moving. So anyways, I want to know more about, they have a pretty big audience.
It's the biggest YouTube channel in the world for sharing stories. Like he's number one. He's number one. It's that big.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's 6 million subscribers just for storytelling.
Wow.
Yeah. And Joe Rogan had him on the podcast. So, he interviewed him, and he's big time.
That's fucking awesome. I was curious about the stool thing. And how long are the episodes?
It just depends, right? So like mine was only 24 minutes, but some people have been about an hour and 20, I've seen at most.
Yeah.
Because the way he does it, because I saw his interview with Rogan because I wanted to get to know him through that. And he kind of explained the format. And the format is, what makes it good is a storyteller. So he doesn't ask questions. He's not an interviewer. So what he does is like, tell me about your childhood. And I already knew, like, he's giving me permission to just talk. So I was able to kind of go through my story to paint a picture. And then after I was done, I didn't know if he was going to ask me any questions, but he did. He had like 4 things to ask me. But I knew to talk long on each one because he might not ask me another question.
I see. So you almost have to pontificate a little bit and give a little extra.
Yeah, because his whole thing is he's a very non-biased person because he's bringing not the person who got molested. I'm bringing the person who molested you too. That's different.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so he has to be at this place where he's like, I'm just giving people space to talk. I'm not going to judge them. I'm not going to call them out. I just give them the space to talk.
Interesting.
To see both sides of what's happening.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Where you and I are both, we got a lot going on. Yeah. What are your thoughts on, actually, this is interesting. Getting sober and becoming a sobriety personality. Do you think it applies? I'll tell you my thought first. I think that getting sober and becoming a sobriety personality is it's like writing a contract to your sobriety. Right, like you can't fuck up.
Yeah, because the whole world's watching.
The whole world's watching.
Yeah.
But I also think it's probably like the most profound. In other words, like when I wanted to lose weight, I started putting my weight loss transformation out there, and like I made it very like prominent that this is what I was doing, and by that being done, you know, obviously that pressure and that audience.
You don't want to let people down, or you don't want to look stupid.
100%. So I was thinking about this the other day, and I was thinking about you and me. And how like you, me, Jeremy Jackson, Blake Builder, like we're all building like cool ecosystems around our story.
You're right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, what if you, and I've heard of like rehab centers and stuff like that doing stuff like this, but what if you like helped people build out their own personal brand and sobriety as they're getting sober? Get them out, let them go on podcasts, let them start telling their story, let them become unabashed. Not obviously there's anonymity and some people want to take advantage of anonymity, but I will tell you for me, and then I'll let you answer, and I'm like caffeinated. I will tell you for me, like going into like, having a sobriety personality in the space and stuff like that has been tremendous for my own mindset. It's given me purpose. It's like living your 12 step.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think so. There's two sides to it, right? When you want to be the sobriety personality person, right? Like you're branded as, you know, everyone knows you're sober. The beauty is it will keep you accountable to another level because the world is watching you, and so you have more eyes on you. The dark side of that is you can feel trapped because of that.
Yeah.
Because if I fuck up, it's not just on a meeting, oh, you got a newcomer chip. No, everybody knows.
Right.
And if you can't handle that type of pressure, then you can spiral. So I always tell people, if that's something you're okay with, the world knowing, go for it. Because the beauty of it is, right, there's a lot of purpose in it. One, you're living it. You could, you know, put people on podcasts, to get interviewed. I mean, it's a cool thing to see people be like, damn, this is cool. I kind of almost feel like a famous celebrity just for being in recovery.
Right.
It's the same concept you would see in Hollywood, right?
Right.
So there's a beauty to it because it's very unique. It's very fun. It's very healing. So I love it. But there is a dark side to it. I think people need to be careful with because, like you said, right? Some of us need that. They're like, I need everyone to be watching for me not to mess up. It's almost like an ego thing or like a attention thing in a sense, right?
Right.
That helps me. So I would just let people know, like, be aware of that.
Yeah. Yeah, because you do see a lot of guys that are like trying to do what we do. And it's great, and I encourage it. But yeah, no, and I even get that too because there's times where I definitely feel the pressure, right? And there's times where because at the end of the day, I'm still an addict, and I still have addict behavior, right? I still isolate. Fuck, I isolate like a motherfucker still. And I've told you about this before, but I get it. Like I know when I'm doing it, I'm so self-aware to like what I do, but like I'll get like so trapped up in my work and I just won't want to talk to anybody and I'll just want to like sit in front of my computer and whatever. And then I'm like, fuck, I need human connection.
Yeah.
You know, but I still do it. So it's like, but the times, I guess what I'm getting at is the times that I catch myself isolating, I feel like a fraud.
How so?
Because I'm still. Thanks for asking that because I would have stopped. Because I'm still like living like an addict.
So would you say that's kind of like where like I guess that's kind of like where imposter syndrome kind of kicks in?
That's
right?
what I mean.
You start to feel that version of you again, and it's like I feel like a fraud. Look what I'm doing.
Yep.
Yeah.
It like I'll get this feeling when my calendar's not full, like in a certain time of day. And then I'll be like, well, I'm going to do stuff that's not productive, but I call it work or whatever. And then I start to feel that way. Now, my calendar is empty 45 minutes every 3 days.
Yeah.
But like that little bit of window, I start to get like really, really anxious, man.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that's why we have to be careful when we're these influencers, and sobriety is a part of it, is because we got to remember, like, we're still addicts.
Right.
And we could fuck up any day. That's just the reality, right? And we have this darkness to us too that still exists, like that exists within us, right? And only we know that when it happens, and it's not going away. And so when we fall back into that, it could be a scary place to be, because we know we can blow up everything that we have. Everything.
Oh, fuck. And like, and nowadays, like, my wake was big when I was like a consistent addict. If I fucking relapsed, like, and I think about that all the time, like, I could cause so much damage in like a weekend.
I mean, and think about it, right? A wife gets hurt, your son gets hurt. Freddie's probably gonna be like, dude, like, Justin, where you at? I've been here waiting. Like, what's happening? Then he doesn't know where you're at, and then your team doesn't know where you're at. The Tuesday meetings that you have, everyone's like, dude, where's Justin at? Like, what's happening? Like, there's the ripple effect.
Oh yeah.
And that I think that's the scary part when you think about that. Like, damn.
No, I think this is an important conversation for how many people do watch this and understand. Like, do it. Like, right, recover out loud, all of that shit. Like, that's all fantastic. But do understand also, like, you know, you and I have done a lot of work on ourselves, right? The other thing too is it's like it's all or nothing with an addict.
Yeah.
It's all or fucking nothing. I'm going to undress myself entirely. I'm going to let everybody know what the fuck I've done, been through, had done to me. I'm not afraid. And a lot of the stuff that I'm prepared to talk about is very uncomfortable to some people, right? But the purpose of being completely transparent in that way is because look, man, like I don't want to be that guy that, like, years later, like, a bunch of shit comes out about him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I also don't want to feel like there's missing pieces of the story, and nothing is more noticeable than when you start writing it down.
Let me ask you this too, before you answer that. Why do you think some people are afraid to be honest and vulnerable with the public, when we know that, like, if you're out in the public, sooner or later, shit's going to come out, which you see all the time? Yeah.
So I think judgment's a big thing, right? Fear of opinion, allodoxophobia is a big one. You know, people are afraid of people's thoughts towards them, right? Like, that's actually the most common fear. So it's like, you know, you're outspoken about, like, your childhood trauma. And to some guys too, some men, like, you know, if they were molested, right? Like, they don't want anyone to know, right? Because
they'll deny it.
Right.
To me.
Yeah, right. Because that makes them gay
so
or weird, or you know what I mean? And it's like, no, man, like, you had a babysitter, that whatever, like, oh, you know. But again, you know, and I'm sure it's, you know, and in some cases it's way deeper and darker than that, probably in most cases. But either way, you know, no, on that note, I'm devastated to hear Freddie just had to ruin my day, that Jay-Z is now allegations.
That's right. Allegedly. Right.
What is it about these guys with, like, a lot of money? Like, it all started, yeah. I mean, it's obviously started far before, but, you know, what about the Penn State football coach?
You know what I think happened? Everybody was, like, messing around in the early 2000s. They didn't think social media was gonna get this far.
Oh,
and then it's like, well, who's gonna tell? And then it's like, now everybody has a phone, and it's like, hey, and then, you know, everybody starts going out, getting drunk. Hey, well, I heard the story about this person, and you're not gonna believe what happened.
Yeah. You know what's also, like, you know what's crazy, and this is actually a separate. This could be an entire separate topic. Like, when like crowds start to, like, when things start to come out and how it snowballs, and how then all of a sudden, oh, this person's talking about that, so I'm gonna talk about it as well, and before you know it, you know, and I mean, I think anybody that has a conscience alone, right, let alone people who have guilty conscience, would be like, oh shit, I hope nothing comes out about me.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're looking over your shoulder like that, like, you have no peace.
Yeah. Never. And that's why a lot of people will try to find a way to numb it some way.
Right.
That's like living in fear. And the thing with too, I think with people, like, you know, people always ask, like, how can they do all that crazy shit? Well, I think about, imagine having billions of dollars. I mean, most people are not going to know what that feels like. Imagine.
Right.
Imagine like you can do anything for the most part in this world. You almost have the power of, let's say, God, and then everybody wants to have sex with you because of your money. And then imagine you're good looking too.
Oh, yeah.
So then you start doing things like, okay, I can hook up with the hottest girls now. And then it's like, okay, now I'm hooking up with 2 girls at the same time, 3 girls, 4 girls, 5, whatever, right? Okay, now I'm getting into swinging.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'm getting into orgies, and I'm getting into these parties. And then imagine years after years, you've gone all around the world, you do all that stuff, maybe you get into like BDSM, bondage, role play, and then you get so desensitized, and everyone treats you like you're like something special, so no one's real with you. So then somebody goes, hey, I know how you feel. Come hang out with me at this party. I'm going to show you something. And then you finally feel something again. And it's something way out there.
Yeah.
But because you felt something, you get that dopamine again. You're like, oh, I want more of this. And then it just gets darker and darker and
Interesting.
darker. And what you shouldn't do feels good a lot of the times to the brain. And that's what happens. You get exposed to that stuff. And then it's like, that's why they get into that. But once you open up Pandora's box, there's no going back.
Right,
and
right.
Like Freddie was saying probably back then, and while we're doing this stuff, but it's a safe space. No one's going to know. And psychologically, things that are so crazy, they don't care if people know because it's so crazy. Even people be like, that's not true.
Right.
They wouldn't do that. Come on. And they know that. That's why it's even crazier. It's like, don't even worry. Why? People will talk, but it sounds so crazy that they won't even believe it anyways. And
right.
You see that with people. That didn't happen, right? You hear it all the time.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
well, that's exactly right away when you guys said something about Jay. I was like,
yeah, right. You're like, nah.
Yeah, I'm like, not Jay-Z. Anybody but Jay-Z.
Right.
So he's one of the only rappers I actually really care about.
Right. Oh, man, right? Now you're like, damn.
Yeah.
You're going to need therapy
like,
tomorrow.
Yeah. You'll never believe Jigga Man. Like,
Right.
what
Casey
happened?
let me down.
Yeah.
And the thing is this, like I've worked with people that have done weird stuff, into weird things because I was in those realms.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you get to understand the psyche is so interesting. Like, why are people into animals? You know, like stuff like that. And there's a whole world like that.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of weird shit out there.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like you think it's like this like secluded perversion, but it's desensitization.
And human
Is
nature.
that how you say it?
Yeah, you're desensitized. Think about human nature, right? If we look thousands and thousands of years of history, people were doing crazy shit. Probably raping everybody, killing people, this, that, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then nowadays people are like, how can someone do that? I'm like, that's history. It's just there's laws now.
Right.
So the humans are capable of so much more. I remember I used to be in this world and this guy hit us up and he sent us a message and he was serious. He sends people messages and he says, hey, will you eat me when I'm dead? I'm going to sign a contract where I'm going to drink this thing to kill myself so you don't get sued. I'm letting them know I killed myself and I signed a document. I want you to eat me. And there's this guy that goes around, he's serious and asks people and he's going to pay you I think it was like $500,000 or $1 million, something like that on top of it. So, I mean, there's weird people out there, man.
You got to eat the entire person?
Yeah, right? That's your question. How much do I have to eat?
Well, I saw this episode of It's Florida Man. And have you seen that show?
What is that?
It's just wild stories about people in Florida.
Okay.
And it was a guy that was like, basically, he was on Craigslist and he was like, hey, I'm looking for somebody to cut a couple of my toes off and eat them.
Well, there you go.
And this guy wanted to go see Bass Nectar. And he didn't have any money. So he was like, yeah, I'll do it.
Oh, shit.
And then he goes to the house and he brings his friend, this chick with him, not like a girlfriend or anything.
Yeah.
I think they were kind of weirdos. And the guy's there and they thought the guy was going to be like a basement dweller, like a weirdo, total normal guy. And he's like, he had a whole setup with like a knife and, like medical stuff, gauze and everything. He's like, I want you to cut my 3 toes off and I want to watch you eat each one. And he has like the basketball game. I was like playoffs. It gives him a beer, it's like a normal like night. And he's like, all right. He's like, I've always wanted to do this. He still had all 10 digits. So he goes to like wind up and the guy's like, and they have a word, like a safe word.
Safe word, yeah.
And it's Connecticut, as a matter of fact. And he's like, right when he like winds up with the knife, he's like, Connecticut.
The guy cutting it or the guy wants his toes cut?
Guy wants his toes cut, throws the safe word. And he's like, what? He's like, well, I'm a karate instructor. And he's like, happen to be barefoot. He's like, we can't do this. And he's like, all right, bro, I just drove like all the way out here. We cutting your fucking toes off or what? I'm trying to get to Bass Nectar. Anyways, I've told the story before on a podcast, but you'll have to watch the episode. It left an impression on me because I was like, these people exist. And here's the funny thing. So like I am like I'm not going to say I'm like prude, but I'm like really normal with like sex stuff. Like,
Really?
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Like I like tying up and like a little bit of bondage stuff,
yeah.
but like, I'm not like, not like crazy. Like I'm a dominant.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm not like weird, not crazy, no multiple partners, nothing like that. Like that's just not my life. And like, even like swinging kind of makes me a little uncomfortable.
Okay.
Like being around it and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And I have some friends that are swingers and they've propped me and Lizzie before and stuff. And like, and she's not comfortable with it. She's an old school, Latina.
Yeah.
So, but like, I like that kind of stuff. And like, obviously, but I'm not like, no.
I wouldn't have thought that. I thought you would have been
Like a weirdo, like wild.
Like wild.
No, I never have been. Like I like exhibition.
Yeah.
Like doing it in like a public bathroom or like whatever. Like I like that kind of shit. But no, straight up, like not. Yeah, I'm not like weird or anything. Yeah, ropes, handcuffs, that shit's cool. I like all that, but not on a daily basis. It takes too long.
Right.
Well,
and I think that's the truth, right? Like people that are into like kink and all that stuff, right? Not the Diddy stuff, but that kink stuff.
You are?
Me, yeah, I am.
Yeah.
But the thing is, again, it's not like you see on a porno. It's not like I come in like, hey, whoosh, and it's perfect.
Yeah,
lighting.
yeah,
She's
yeah.
like, oh my God, no. It's kind of sometimes like, hey, oh, hold on, I gotta sneeze. It's you. Hey, hold, did that? Oh, I hit you the wrong way. Okay, it's like that's how it really looks.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? It's goofy.
Yeah.
You gotta laugh during it, and you're right. You don't do it every day. That shit's tiring.
No, yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, I'm good.
It's
on
a production.
That. Yeah, I don't got time
Sometimes
for that.
like let's just go mish, and just run it.
Yeah.
Interesting. This is really going all over the place, and I kind of like it.
Well, the thing is this too with kink. Kink is healing. So
Interesting.
So let's say, for example, girl gets molested as a kid. Okay, her power was taken from her. Girl gets into kink and she's like, I want to reenact that scene with my partner in a safe way, have a safe word. But the whole goal is when I say stop, you listen.
Okay.
So now that's them taking back their power in that moment, which is healing. And also, if the other way too is person gets taken advantage of as a kid, now maybe his way is, I don't want to play the victim again and relive it. I would rather be the dominant in control, right? In a safe way, but I play that character and that's me taking back my power as well. So it's actually very healing when done correctly and in a healthy way.
Interesting. I know some guys who do, who coach like bondage and kink lifestyles and like they, I don't know how they coach it, but I mean, it's like they're part of their thing.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I guess I never really had like anything like that in my life. Like, thank God, right? To where it was like, I've never had like any sexual trauma. You know what I mean? And I thank God. But you know what though? I mean, like I've been cheated on in like the worst ways possible. Yeah. But I've also cheated. It's like in my head I justify. I'm like, well, I'm a piece of shit. She was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like we're all pieces of shit. So, anyways, yeah.
You turned on right now?
Yeah. I got a little tube of chapstick, in my. But I have something in my mouth or in my throat.
Whoa.
Yes. So, anyways, that's an interesting topic. But yeah, no, not my thing. Oh. I'm trying to even think of like the weirdest shit, and it's like people would be like, "Dude, that Justin was a fucking prude, man." But I'm not. But I am. But I'm not.
You'd be considered vanilla in the weird world.
Would I?
Yeah. You'd be like, oh, he's vanilla. Give him a hug.
No.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's some weird people in there.
Have you ever been with like, or obviously you have, but like is your girlfriend into that kind of stuff too, or not really?
Yeah, she is. Yes. Yeah, she is. She's more private about it. Sorry. But she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys have like a pineapple in your lawn or anything like that?
No. So if you're swinging, it's an upside down pineapple. Yeah. You put that as like a telltale sign. Guys will wear, if I had this ring on this finger, not my wedding finger, but the opposite hand.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like a telltale sign. Or you get
why do you wear a ring again? I remember you saying something.
So the reason why I started wearing a ring when I got sober was because I knew that validation from women was my kryptonite, because I don't feel good enough. And so I put a ring on to be able to keep some away when I go out and about from them approaching me. If they did approach me, at least I can be like, well, this person's toxic and I don't want to be in another toxic relationship. And then
toxic in terms of, because if they would approach a man with a wedding ring,
and they wanted to do something, you're toxic, obviously, you know?
Yeah. Interesting.
And I'm codependent. I can't get in that. And I don't want to relapse because of it. And then what I would do too is I would wear it, because when I catch myself trying to take it off, it's like a buffer. And I'm like, why am I trying to take it off? Because I don't feel good enough today and I just want some outside validation from a woman. And I check myself. So that's why I wear it. It was to really work on that aspect of me.
So I don't wear a ring. Well, I have like the E tattoo.
Yeah,
I have.
You have a ring though, right?
I have two.
Yeah.
But they're really expensive.
Yeah,
I don't. Well, I just don't wear. Oh, I don't know what. But I can't,
Right.
Yeah. No. Just because like I'll train and they scratch,
I
they scratch. They scratch really easily.
Yeah.
So it's like, throughout the day, and then also, so I have a ring for my white gold watch. And then a ring like for my steel watch, and then I have a ring for my gold watch.
Right.
So I switch them, on and off, but I change watches more than I change my underwear, and that's a baller thing that you guys are learning about. No, it's not really. I'm just kidding.
Stop changing your underwear.
No, listen.
Or better yet, don't wear any.
Don't wear any. Yeah, go swinging. No. I just I have stuff that I like to match my jewelry, and but then at the end of the day, like it's like putting one on. I'm just gonna go train. I'm gonna take it off. So I just don't. I just got Lizzie's initial on my tattoo.
That's cool.
That's nice. Want to know what's funny though is that she's gonna love me telling this story. She actually called my tattooer. I was going in for an appointment, and she was like, "I'm paying for it." I'm like, with what, my credit card? No. But I know she was like, "I'm paying for it," and I want to be able to buy him a tattoo, and he said he wanted to do the E thing. So I got to Nick's shop, and I was like, "Hey, you ready to go? We're gonna work on like my." I don't even know where. And he was like, "Yeah, but I got to do one. I got to bang out your ring finger." And I was like, "Oh, okay, whatever."
That's right. Let me ask you this: How do you balance being a CEO of a company with ADD and an ex-addict? How do you balance watering that and watering your love life?
God damn, dude. Can I lie?
No, anything you say, people can lie.
Yeah. Can I lie about this? No. So first of all, that's a loaded question, right? Because you have the ADD part.
Yeah.
So ADD and procrastinating usually kind of go hand in hand too, right? And then analysis paralysis and all of that. So I am like, and this is kind of like how it carries through my life. So like dating me is not easy. Being married to me is not easy because I react and I act like instantly. Mm-hmm. So, being ADD and being a CEO, I've adopted, like, I have to do it now. Like everything I do is like right now. I want whatever project I'm going to delegate. I want it done yesterday.
Yeah.
Right. So like I'm very like much like because if it's not done right now, then ADD, procrastination,
I gotta do
so
it right
on
now.
and so forth. Yeah. So I become like caffeinated, right, and like very good at like just doing shit in the moment, right. And but then it's like that starts to stack up, right. I don't usually let things go more than 24 hours. I hate that. Mm-hmm. I hate when things go over 24 hours. So then things start to stack up. Now with the love life, like, thank God I have a patient wife. Thank God. Because like, I don't think anybody would be able to like, I think she's one of the only people in the world that can actually like put up with me.
Wow.
Because I'm intense all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so preoccupied to when sometimes I'm mentally gone. Yeah. And she gets it. Now at the same time, I give her a lot of attention. I mean, obviously, like, we're together all the time, and I've set boundaries in the evening, but there's times where it's like, I'm so focused on a project or on something that it is what it is. So, and then the addict part, that's my superpower.
How so?
because I obsess. You know, and I'm so obsessive, it's stupid.
That's right. We'll obsess about something no matter what until it happens, whatever it takes.
Dude, it's like brutal.
Yeah,
it's brutal. Because I'll wake up at 3:00 in the morning and I have nothing to do, and I'm like, what can I find to do?
Yeah.
That will like get me towards like a target that I'm trying to hit.
Right.
So it's weird, dude. It's really weird. And it's like, it's again, it's like causing me to feel like these like addict behaviors again. But it's like I'm not torching my life to the ground.
Right. Well, the thing is, remember, we're addicts till the day we die. So that behavior is not going away. It's just where are we putting it at?
Well, it's funny you say that because I got caught up in this, and there's a lot of guys in like sobriety that are sobriety personalities that are like, I don't identify as an addict anymore.
Right.
And you're like, bullshit. Okay, fuck you. You are, but they're so focused on the substance that they don't realize like it's not at all what it is. And I got caught up in because I was like, well, hold on a second. I'm recovering, I'm recovered, but then I'll realize I'm not fucking recovered. I'm not even close to recovered. Yeah. And I have it together, more than a lot of people that have my level of time or my length of time. So I think it's a really dangerous, maybe not dangerous, but maybe delusional.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope because I understand this idea, right? Because again, when you mix, let's say 12-step wisdom with clinical wisdom is usually the power of words are powerful. Don't say I am an addict because then you make it real, which I get. I understand. Yeah. I don't want to say I am a failure. I am going to be poor for the rest of my life. I get it. I understand that verbiage. But I think people need to be careful because it's like if you have an addictive personality, okay, you're not a drug addict anymore, whatever, but you still have an addictive personality. So be careful because there's no way that's disappearing.
Right.
Unless you really weren't ever an addict and you just drank heavy, which can happen with people too. It's like maybe you just partied a lot. So then you're not one of us. Because if you are one of us, you're going to be addicted to something. Ask anyone's partner that dates one of us. They'll tell you, oh yeah, my partner's obsessive about everything.
Right.
And they will point it out.
Well, and here's the other thing too, is it, remember, it's never the substance, right? Like the drug, the booze, whatever is never the substance, right? That's like the solve, right? That's never the problem. It's the solution. So as an addict, I'm constantly searching for a solution for how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And that's an important thing to understand. So when somebody says, well, I'm recovered, I'm not an addict, I don't identify that way. Like, dude, you're not identifying as a drug addict anymore, but you're still an addict. You still are searching for something to make you feel some type of way, and you have to. Normal people who aren't addicts, can sit in their shit. Yeah. They can watch an episode of something without thinking a million different thoughts.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's so important to understand. Like, and the best part about it is I own the fact that I'm an addict. I respect the fact that I'm an addict. I generally try to do progressive things, and I'm addicted to making myself feel good in terms of positive, progressive, and a lot of times reactive. And I'm 10 times further than most of the other addicts that I know in life that are trying to abandon that label.
Yeah.
You're spending so much time trying to abandon that label where if you just would fucking own it, you could actually do really great things.
Yeah. And I think it takes humility to understand that, right? Because it's not that we're saying that to remind ourselves of what we're capable of. That's why I remind myself I'm an addict. Why? Because I'm not dumb. I can think about getting high all the time and drinking. I remind myself. My girlfriend reminds me. I always say this: if you don't think you're an addict anymore, get a partner that's a normie and just have them point out your personality. Like you said, my girlfriend could sit there in the chair for 4 hours watching TV, and I've probably moved around 100 times in that place, just thinking about stuff I got to do, thinking about this, asking her questions, thinking about this, reading this, writing that, posting this, thinking that, walk out, come back, come in.
Or just shutting down entirely and
just
not even.
Existential crisis in the room. She's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I just don't talk to me. Why? Nothing's right. I just want to fucking die. Like, she's like, what's happened? I was just like, and it's just nonsense. And the next day I'm like, all right, I figured it out. I'm good to go. I hit the gym. I just talked to Justin. Like, it's all good. She goes, what is wrong with you?
Oh, dude, I'm the same exact way. I'm the same exact way. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, crisis. And then, yeah, no, everything's fine. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we're crazy. And that's why, right? It's not a drinking problem. It's a thinking problem. That's what it is. Our thinking problem is what we think all the time. That's all it really is. I'm just constantly thinking.
Yep. Yeah, so true. It's fucking funny.
But it is our superpower, like you said, when you channel it right. That's why we become successful whatever we do. Because if it makes us feel good, good luck stopping us.
Yeah, no shit.
Like, dude, I'm going to do what makes me feel good no matter what. Whatever 100%.
It is. It's fucking funny. So I got a question.
Yeah.
And this might be a little conceited. You met me like in obviously my most vulnerable state of my life.
I still remember the first day. Who the fuck's this tall ass fucking guy in this little chair? Because everyone's tiny. You're this big ass guy, like this slouch in the chair. Because you're so big.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like when you first. I remember like when you first came in. I told that story before, but like I was in. Like I said, you met me like literally in my most vulnerable state. But what did you think?
You know, at first was like, you know, and I think this is my own issue, right? Anytime I see a person of your stature, I always think, this is going to be that guy that's hard to get to, because like I'm not the type of guy this guy would respect. You know what I mean? Like I'm not the manly guy, tatted up, probably 6 foot something. Like that'd be the guy that you're like, oh, this is the guy. Because you know, I know some facilitators, like my buddy Jeff, that's like that. He's like 6'8", just jacked and big, and usually like the guys like you are like, that's my guy.
Yeah,
you know? So that's always the first, I think, of my impression, right? I was like, okay, he'll probably be the one that's hard to get to. But then as I would go around the room and ask you questions, you would always answer. You would sit in group. You wouldn't complain or nothing like that. And so that kind of like, you know, helped me go, okay, maybe he's not that type of guy. And then I think it wasn't until we had a side conversation. I think it was about house music or something like that. Oh. And then I saw you kind of just light up like another person, and we were just talking and talking and talking. And so I think right there at that point, I was like, oh, this guy's like really cool. Like he's into house music and stuff like that. We were talking. Then I got to kind of know you. I was like, oh, you have your shit together too. Like back home, you're doing stuff. And you're like, yeah. And you were telling the truth. You're like, yeah, like this and that. I want to move out.
Well, you say you were telling the truth.
Yeah, because you know most people
are full of shit in rehab. Oh my God, it's bad.
So I think at that point, I was like, okay, this guy's really cool. You know what I mean? He knows a lot. If anything, I was kind of like, man, it must be difficult for him to be here, because you got your shit together back home. You know what I mean? Like you've owned property, you've done this, you got a degrees. You're not like most of the kids that were at what's the name of it again? Renaissance, right? That's the thing too. It's like, oh man, I feel bad for this guy because all these kids are rappers and gonna do things. You know, you already know, right? And they're talking their stories, and I'm like, this guy's probably looking at them like, dude, shut up.
Did you ever hear about the time I got that one kid kicked out?
No.
Oh my God, it was bad. So there was a kid named Chris, and he was a little tiny guy, skinny, really skinny, from like Georgia or some shit, thick Southern accent, and he was like so disrespectful to a female facilitator. Is that what you call him?
Yeah.
And I remember like he would, every single time we were in that group, he would be like so disrespectful. And I remember one time I just looked at him and I go, are you the most disrespectful fucking piece of shit I've ever met? Like in the middle of the thing. And like the whole room was like, oh my God. And he's like, fuck you, motherfucker. And he like gets up and he gets in my face. He's like, I'll fucking smoke you out right now, bitch. And I'm like, and I look at him and I had my glasses on and I looked at him. I was like, and like, keep in mind, like it would be like child abuse. Like, like he was like 120 pounds, like soaking wet. And everybody's sitting there, and I kept it fucking cool as a cucumber. I was like, you serious? right now, like you want to fucking fight me, you know? And like it would be a bad news. Like it would be really bad news. It would be, he's like the size of my 13-year-old son.
Yeah.
And he like exited himself out of the room. You know what I mean? The whole time talking shit, like back, and I'll fuck you up. I'm going to fuck you up. And Colby packed up his room and dropped him off in a park and was like, find your own way. You're fucking out now.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, and I was like the star of
Right,
rehab because like everyone hated his guts. Yeah. They're like, oh my God, Justin, I can't believe how he kept his cool with that.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
That's cool. And then I think after that, he showed up to one of my events that we had at the Magic House. I remember I thought was really cool because you're like, yeah, I want to go. I think you were looking for something to do too. You're like, oh, you guys,
yeah,
like
and I already had and I had an experience with Shane Earn.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
before that, really? Mm-hmm. I didn't even know that. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. If you remember, we showed up in the Sprinter bus.
Yeah, I remember that.
Or was that
No, that was
no. Yeah, this was before. We came when I was still in treatment.
That's what it was because I had an event when you were still in treatment, and so because you got excited, you're like, dude, I want to go. Like you guys did like a party and sobriety. I remember I was like, yeah, we got like I'll be DJing. I think I was like, come out free food. I think you were stoked for that. It was like something different than just going to meetings. And then you came with like the crew that you were I think cool with at that time.
Yeah.
It was like TJ and what was that girl's name? I can't remember. I think he dated her for a bit.
Oh, Tawny.
Yes, and a couple of you guys all came, and then after that, I think I saw you when you were out, and it was at my buddy was DJing in Huntington Beach, and I remember I ran into you there. I was like, "Oh, dude, you're here." You're like, "Yeah, I just got a place here in Huntington."
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh no way!" You're like, "Yeah," and I'm doing this coaching stuff now. I think it was around that time. You're like, "Look at my followers, Fausto." You know what I mean? Because I think I would tell you what I would do back and think like, oh yeah, I got Instagram, I do stuff.
Yeah.
And you were like stoked. You're like, dude, we got to hang out. And I think we were trying to meet at Deep House Brunch a couple times.
Yep.
Yeah.
Deep House Brunch is funny. That's
Scotty boy.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like we had a bunch of connections, similar connections.
Yeah.
And, I knew Scotty boy from my buddy Shannon, who's a big house DJ.
Okay. Yeah.
Shannon Williams. That's interesting. So, the year's coming to an end.
Yeah.
How do you feel about 2024? You were kind of all over the board, huh?
Man, this is a crazy year. I was gone for 6 months backpacking through 14 countries in Asia for 6 months. I quit my career in March, 8 months sabbatical.
So you were done facilitating.
Yeah, I quit everything March
Still?
6th. So
have you gone back?
So I'm only doing 3 groups a week right now facilitating. That's where I cap out now.
How does it make you feel when you step away? Because obviously you went back not because you love it,
Yeah.
right? Because I know what you love.
Yeah.
So obviously it's a job. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously,
I enjoy it.
No, I know you enjoy it, but at the same time, like it's not your most, like that's not your.
Yeah, I hate HIPAA laws. I hate all the laws.
Right,
that come
right,
with it. That's the part I
right,
don't
right.
like. I like the people. It's just like, ugh.
Yeah. I'm not dogging. Like I don't want anybody to read this, like see this and be like, oh, he's not passionate about like. No, but obviously you want to do your thing.
Yeah.
So it's a job.
Right.
How does that make you feel when you go back to it? Were you always planning on going back to it, or?
So I didn't know what was going to happen when I left.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was a scary place to be where I built this dream life of doing a lot of cool stuff. And then I get to this place 6 years sober and I'm like, I'm the most miserable I've ever been, you know? And I had to do an extreme decision to leave to Asia. I've never traveled before at this point. Go to Asia for 6 months was my commitment. No plan. And
did you go with your girl or by yourself?
I went with my girl because she's a travel expert, I would say. She's been backpacking alone since she was 15. She's been to 80 countries alone.
Oh, wow.
That's the only reason why I probably had the confidence to even do it because she was like, don't worry about it. We'll make it work. So it was scary because like I could not navigate my life back home anymore. I was too afraid to give up things because I feel like I needed that success. I can't give it up. Or, you know, people are going to know now I'm not this guy and this and that. And my brand's going to blow up and my name, my reputation. So I had to do something extreme by just going, you know what? I'm just going to leave the country and give up everything. I can't navigate it and moderate it. I need to just quit everything.
So did you move out of your place and everything too? Or
Everything,
did you keep it all?
everything. I figured out how to get rid of what I could, right? Sell things, get rid of things, put things on hold. We subleased my girl's place. You know, we had somebody come in. We had to have someone watch our pet for 6 months. There was a lot of things.
Oh wow, you have a dog or what?
A cat.
Oh, okay.
I'm a cat. Hey, look at
You just let it go.
Right, you're like, oh, just a cat. Let it go. It's a cat. It's a blue Russian though. It's an expensive cat, like a dog. Okay. It's got personality. It plays catch. Okay. Yeah, it does. We walk it actually on a leash. Every day we have to take it out. Hey, we're all gay.
I'm just kidding. It's not that gay, but it's pretty gay.
We're all gay. Let's just leave it at that.
All right.
So it was
Freddie?
Freddie's gay, right?
Like cold plunge gay?
All the cold plungers just unfollowed.
That's how you know. Yeah, that's how you know how Freddie's around me all the time.
The cold plungers. So like I had to do something so extreme. So when I was gone for those 6 months, I mean, imagine you gave up everything today, and you're in a country that no one speaks English. You have no connection to anybody back home because you delete all your socials, and you're just sitting in this sense of unknown for hour after hour after hour, and everything you do to cope or to distract your ADD or your addiction or make you feel like you're successful is gone. It was scary because there was days of like, did I make a mistake? Why aren't people texting me? Maybe they were never my friends. What happens if what I was doing my whole life I don't want to do anymore? Oh my gosh, then what am I going to do? Am I going to kill myself at one point? Maybe I am going to go back and relapse. Like it was so many questions coming up, and so I was forced to really figure out how to feel good about myself without anything.
Oh wow,
that was the challenge. How do I feel good enough without any of that?
Yeah, so strip down, get rid of everything, and
yeah. So coming back, towards the end, I had this idea of like, okay, how much am I willing to put into this career in the rehab world? And I said I will do 3 hours a week max for now, because the goal is to get out of it and do my own thing fully, which I do my own thing, and so. That was my boundary, was to do that. Okay. Just 3 and that's it. And then the goal is to get out and just do it for fun on the side.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because, obviously like for me, it's like I have nightmares. I have nightmares about stepping back into like a W-2 job or anything like that. Like it's like my relapse dreams.
You're going back to
no, believe me. Like I have dreams like where I'm in a fucking showroom. And like my life outside of a showroom is so much better.
Yeah.
And I'll have dreams like all of a sudden I'm like back working for my family or my dad. And then I'll wake up like fucking cold sweat, like, oh my God, like I do not. And it wasn't like it was so bad. I mean, it was a great career, great business, great company to work for, It's
not for you.
Well, no, and it is for me actually. But it's my life is so much better, and anybody's life would be better living it completely on your terms.
Yeah. Especially as a creative person, or we need that.
Yeah.
I always say I would rather live in a studio apartment to focus on my dreams for the next 10 years because I want to see if it will work.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of finding security in a normal
life. I did. I lived in that little fucking apartment for over a year. And built, and now I live in a nice place right on the beach, so it works out nice. But no, it was a lot. It was a lot of work.
What do you think for people that maybe want to dive into the entrepreneur world? They want to get out of the 9-to-5. What is the responsibility that they have to know they're walking into? Because most people talk about the good parts of it, right? Oh, it's going to be great. You do your own thing. You have all the freedom. But people really never talk about like, this is what's going to come with it though.
Yeah. What comes with it is, especially if you're selling a product, rejection. You have to be able to take a lot of rejection. I talk to people about this all the time, every single day. And like, it's like, some people are like, yeah, I'm getting crazy traction. This is easy. And then other people are like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And part of me is like, I just want to tell people, I'm going to choke someone out sometimes. I'm like, do you have any idea how much rejection I take? And not only rejection, but hate. Your pants are too tight. Your shirt's too tight. whatever.
Yeah.
You're on trend. Lately, that's like everyone's like, damn, do I look that good? Like, thanks. Like, appreciate you. You know, like anyone could like just get juiced up and tatted up and you know what I mean? And like, and just like,
You ever get, you're just a Wes Watson ripoff?
oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm like, yeah, all right, cool. Whatever. Thanks. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
But like, and again, like that's actually an insult just because like, you know, I don't want to be confused for someone who rips people off.
Yeah.
Right. Like, yeah, sure. Yeah. I had a bald head and beard when he had a receding hairline and goatee, a gay goatee too, by the way. But either way, you know, and that is what it is. And I don't care. I don't give a fuck. Like I'm crying my eyes out in my fucking Benz. Like I don't give a shit. But what I will tell anybody is, yeah, there's a lot of rejection. What I've learned with working with new entrepreneurs, and most of them are fucking great, right? But some of them are delusional about like how hard they're actually working.
Like, what's an example?
Like, so the details that go along with stuff, right? So like measuring and tracking. Like some people just will not do that, right? And it's not a matter of like whether they believe it works or not, but it's like, well, every single successful business does it, and you're saying like, you know what I mean, and you're just not doing it. But then on the same token, you're saying that you're not progressing. Well, just do that work. And and then also a lot of work isn't actually progress.
Yeah.
You know, it's work, it's busy work.
Busyness instead of productivity.
Right. And I'm guilty of doing it all the time, but at least I recognize it. Right. Like I know I'm like, dude, I'm just working to work right now because I'm an addict and you know, whatever. I'm not actually getting anything done.
Right.
But I recognize it and then I'll try to do something, whatever, or I'll go golfing or do something that I enjoy. Yeah. But I think a lot of people are delusional about how hard they're actually working. Mm-hmm. You know,
and it's not easy too. I tell people like you got to understand like you're making a long-term commitment to give everything. And some people are like, yeah, but I still want to do this and I want to do that and I want to have this and that. And it's like, dude, it's like you said, right? It's like, dude, and then they want to blame like, well, it's the people, it's the algorithm. I'm like, no, it's you.
It's you. Your content sucks. You suck. Like,
yeah.
The other thing is also how outspoken people are about like the bad habits that they cut and things like that. Like, I think a lot of people don't realize, like, I work around the clock, right? Like, I don't know anybody that works harder than me. Even if I'm spinning myself in circles working, I'm always working because it's what I enjoy doing.
Right.
But I also binge Netflix, right? I don't listen to podcasts. Mm-hmm. I read a lot, but that's a different story. I watch a lot of series. I doom scroll on social media. Mm-hmm. But somehow I still get a lot of stuff done, which is a huge indicator that when people say that they spent a lot of time working, but they're not making money, that they're not actually working. There's a measurable deal, right? Like if you think you're working and you're busy, right? That's the other thing. It's like, don't ever tell me you're busy unless you have fucking cake. Yeah. Unless you have bread in your bank account, don't tell me you're busy.
I love how everyone's like, well, I'm too busy. I'm like, we're all busy.
Yeah, everybody's busy.
Everybody's busy.
Everybody's busy. What are you talking about? Right? But individuals, it's like when it involves them, it's just like it means so much more, right? Like it's like it's yeah, but you don't get it. It's me and mine and my kids and my, you know, and it's like, oh, because we don't also do the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I remember my mentor, he's very straightforward. And like one of my buddies was starting a nonprofit. And he already had one kid. He was having a kid around the time he started it. And then my mentor would tell him like, hey, dude, like, remember you have a kid. And I'm sorry, and your wife's really unhappy because you're not around. But you want to do this thing. And you want to keep your wife happy. He's like, maybe you shouldn't have had a kid.
Right.
And then a couple months later, he's like, we're having a second kid. He goes, obviously you're not listening to what I'm saying.
Right.
And then sure enough, it doesn't work out in that career for him because he's like, hey, You got to understand what are you really doing? What are you trying to do? Most people.
Well, what really happened behind that? I think, a lot of people have a kid to salvage a relationship.
There's that too, yeah.
Right? So it's like, oh my God, you're working so much and I don't get any attention from you and I'm going to leave you. And then something happens and probably more things happen. And they're like, oh, well, let's have a kid and that'll fix us and that'll make everything better. And that doesn't make anything better, but people are fucking dumb. Yeah. And then they'll go, well, let's have another kid. It'll make things better. And then that doesn't get better. Now you're stretched and now you got to pay for all these diapers and you're broke in the first place. And it's not a good look.
And I think a lot of people don't really understand what it takes to create something of your own. In whatever shape or form it is. And then, there's difference, right? I'm trying to sell a product, like an actual product. Let's say like I'm making a clothing brand or whatever. And then you have like what we talked about, them branding, like you're trying to be the product.
Right.
Like, why should I pay you $1,000 to hang out with you in a sense, right? To hang out with you for an hour. Like why? That's a whole nother beast about a critic because like you are the reputation.
Right.
So you better protect that at all costs, no matter what. And I think people don't realize the responsibility that carries, versus the product versus you.
Right.
Right. And I think a lot of people don't really understand how much work it takes to be put into this stuff.
Right.
Right. In our head, the idea sounds always easier than when you do it. And that's why not everybody does it.
Right.
Because you try it and then you learn, right? Okay, so have you got this? Did you get the paperwork for this through a lawyer? What do you mean? Do you need to get that taken care of? Well, I don't know how to do that. Well, go figure that out. Have you done this yet? I don't know how to do that. You need to go figure that out.
Right.
And delegate stuff. Find the right team. Like the reason why you've wasted 2 years is because you're not collecting data.
Right.
You're not collecting all this stuff. You don't even know what you're even doing. What are you even doing?
Right.
Where's your money going? I don't know.
So my biggest thing has been like create a product so you can sell it. The rest of it will kind of all figure itself out, and I think everybody's like, oh, I want to have this perfect and I want to have this part perfect. And it's like, dog, take what you have right now and start getting experience. Mm-hmm. Start taking rejection. Do something.
Yeah.
Other than sitting around waiting for everything to be fucking perfect because it never will be. That's something. How about this one? Well, life happened. You heard that before?
Is that like somebody making an excuse?
Yeah, like, well, yeah. Maybe it is. Well, yeah, I guess it's an excuse, but life happened.
Would be an example? Like someone say that to you?
Recently, well, remember everything with me is pretty much involved in entrepreneurship, right? So I started my business and I was, doing really good out of COVID, and then life happened. And I think, what in life? I mean, and maybe you're more empathetic than I am with this, but what in life? Right, happens to the point where you torch your business.
Yeah.
Divorce. Okay.
Yeah.
Short of losing a child, what really could happen?
Right. Well, yeah. Well, I look at it as like, right. I mean, every situation is different, right? But if someone's trying to do something and that's the reason why they stop doing it or whatever, it still is an excuse. Mm-hmm. Look at what single moms have every excuse to not raise their kids because of the narcissistic husband left, cheated, left with their best friend, took everything, and these moms still make sure the kids are taken care of. Like, you know what I mean?
Are you familiar with Oprah's story?
Somewhat.
Winfrey?
How everyone was what part of everyone was rejecting her family, the trauma, and all that stuff.
Yeah, sexual abuse.
Yeah,
trauma.
a ton of stuff. And look at her.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think we can all make excuses. It's a lot easier. But they're just excuses. There's always a way.
Yeah.
Just like everyone's too busy. Everyone has something else to do. Everybody forgot. Everyone says, I can't do this. I can't do that. It's like, well, yeah, you can't because you say you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a blowout the other day over a life happened situation. And I find myself like just believing in people too much. You know what I mean? And
get excited.
Yeah. Like as a coach, you see potential in individuals and you want them to win so bad.
Right.
And then they pull some bullshit. Life happened bullshit. And
yeah.
Because they tell you what happened. And you're like, dog, that's not life happening. That's just normal shit.
Yeah.
Like I said, short of losing a child, I don't know what kind of life can happen like to where your life gets put on pause,
right?
Or whatever goal you have or whatever it is gets put on pause. I just don't see it.
But that's why we have to practice, right? Having no expectations on anything
Well, yeah,
to protect yourself in those moments. No matter, but it's a weird place, right? Because it's like, so then am I not excited for people anymore? Do I just kind of be neutral? And that's the practice, right? How do you still get excited as if this person is going to do amazing things, but also have no expectations that they will? And there's like that fine balance to get to. So I always say, have no expectations, but be hopeful. And that just protects you. So when those conversations happen, it's just a conversation. Oh, okay, cool. Move on. And there's no emotional effect.
Dude, so the other day, what was it? Yesterday, probably. I was on Zoom with Scotty, and just the expectations, because somebody who like I had zero expectation, not zero. I always knew he was going to be great, but he doesn't like show up to anything. He just kind of like watches my recordings of my videos and things like that, and my modules and things like that. And he was on a phone call with Scotty, but Scotty was on Zoom with me, so I could hear him. And he was like, yeah, man, just kind of doing my thing. He's like, this is like my 5th month in a row hitting 36 grand. And I was like, what? This guy's making, almost over $400,000 a year. And he like sold like Spectrum, like Comcast, like cable and internet before, making like, good money, 150 grand a year. And now he's making like 400 grand a year. And I never see him, never hear from him. He just takes exactly what his name's Eric Hammer. Okay. And I'm going to shout him out right now and he's going to get this. And it's like, and I heard him say that and I was like, you have this guy who doesn't show up to anything. He doesn't participate. He's an old friend of mine, actually. I knew him back in Michigan. Great friend of mine. And I always knew he would be good. But then I have people that have so much fucking potential. And they show up to like everything, but they just don't do the actual work. And it's just funny because, and by the way, Eric went through a divorce and a nasty custody battle, and also competed and won a bodybuilding tournament. Like everything that, and I'm going to use this as an example because it's like everything that we hear from these fitness people. That it's like, oh well, I'm competing and I'm in prep, so I'm not able to do this, and this. And I'm like, here's a guy who literally started his coaching business 6 months ago. He's doing $36,000 a month consistently, going through a divorce, which I get that excuse, right? Competing, custody battle, and working his 9 to 5.
It's wild.
But then the next guy comes on and he's like, yeah, my life happened. My girlfriend left me. People are weak.
Well, I think
frail.
And I think everybody's in a different place too, right? Usually as a person, either you're built like that because of your family dynamic.
He's one of us too, by the way.
And that's the thing. If he's one of us, and then then we have this capacity to like endure pain like no other.
Right.
It's almost like it's not that we're strong. It's just like that's how we cope. Like our coping is what people have to work for to get strong in life to do. Where for us, it's like a natural instinct of doing things. It's kind of like I tell people, they go, man, you're so like caring and loving towards people. You help people all the time. Like it's not a skill. I get high when I help people.
Oh, really?
If I didn't get high off of helping people, I probably wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? Like if I really dive deep, like why am I so good at hanging out with people, loving, listening, caring, driving, doing stuff? It's because I get high off of it.
Oh, cool.
My addiction is that.
So you get a I'm sure I get a dopamine release too, but interestingly enough, like actually it's funny because I try not to work with people I don't like. Mm-hmm. So like everybody I work with I like, or I had some sort of connection with, but I connect easily with people. So it's like, okay, I connect easily with people. I like people and things like that, but then I get let down very often. Yeah. But I never considered that I got a high. I suppose there is a dopamine release when you do help somebody, but I just feel like, I don't go out of my way to help people. It's just part of what a conversation would be. Yeah. And it's funny too, because like I don't offer unsolicited advice. I don't ever really give much advice at all. I like to listen. So What else?
Yeah, about 8 more minutes.
Yeah.
And I gotta head out.
Yeah. This was fun. Let me ask you this. What does 2025 look like for you?
2025 is all about putting in all my energy and my effort into my YouTube channel.
Yes.
Because it launches the first week of January. There's one video out now, but that's the goal. I finally figured out what I really truly want to do with what I have, and that's my bread and butter now is going to be the YouTube channel. Put something
long
out there.
form?
Long form. Because I'm a long form guy. I hate short form. You know, like
Live?
not live. I'm gonna make videos. So every week
You got to go live though.
I will go live when once I start going. I'm gonna figure out formulas and systems.
I saw you doing thumbnails.
Yeah, so I you know, because I used to do video editing for 15 years, so I know how to film. I know how to edit. I know how to do thumbnail designs, everything, SEOs, all that stuff.
I should connect you with Justin Evans, who does my thumbnails. Just so you guys can share some experience. You know, he has the Epic Toy Channel. He's Diamond awarded.
Okay. Yeah, that's big.
Yeah, that's the biggest you can go.
That's huge.
Like 5 billion views.
That's
like
crazy.
Yeah.
So that's the focus is to just put that out. So I've been building everything, getting it ready, have the studio set up, doing videos. And that's my project, man. Because I know.
Is it going to be in this world?
It's going to be a therapy channel. So anything.
Oh.
So let's just say somebody you know is going through, and he goes, hey, Jess, should I take back my ex after she cheated on me? I just go on Fausto's YouTube channel. He has a video on that. And I break down the complexity of it. Like, hey, if you want to, that's cool. But then you need to stop bothering her about how she cheated on you. Because if you want to take her back, that's on you. So learn to let that go. Stop putting it on her. But she needs to build your trust. So if you want to look at her phone in the beginning, she better do that. You know, I want to like talk on all these topics because I know I've worked with people everywhere. Because everything that people put out there is bullshit. Yeah. Here's the 3 ways to, you know, anything. 3 ways to get a 6-pack. The 10-day 6-pack. I'm telling you, this works. Toxic advice out there. Toxic. And then toxic advice, if it goes viral, it becomes truth for that generation. You know? And so I really want to create this thing of like just being real with people. And everything I do, I show proof.
Yeah.
So when I say, I've worked with these people, here's some pictures. I have a degree. Here's a picture of my degree.
Yeah.
I am always around people. Here are clips of me around people all the time. It's like, I know what I'm talking about. And I won't teach something I've never been through or experienced.
Well, we can't. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I would say like, that's not me.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
What about for you?
A lot. Book release, hopefully in the first quarter.
Okay.
You know, I'm working that out right now. And they're trying to get me on a bunch of marketing shit and all of that. And like, so I'm trying to discern like what I can do through my own agency.
Yeah.
Right. And what I should pay them for.
For your book?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like market the book, do podcasting, a tour.
Yeah. We're looking at about $65K to like do it right.
Yeah.
Which is fine. That's not a big deal. But some of the stuff, it's like, well, Audible, like I can record my own Audible. I have tons of friends with recording studios, like, you know, so I don't need to pay $10,000 for a studio time for an Audible.
Jesus
like that doesn't make sense, you know. One interesting thing that they can do, and I think I have a resource for this, is a billboard in Times Square. Which, by the way, that's where I'm going for New Year's Eve.
Oh, is that where you're going?
Yeah.
Oh, getting a billboard in Times Square?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that might be cool.
And that shouldn't be too expensive. My girlfriend was in Times Square. She paid $700.
For a billboard?
Yeah. She got on there. It was on the thing. There's a video of it popping out on the LED screens all over Times
For
Square.
her book, or?
She did some women's empowerment thing she did. But it was there, and it was out here in Anaheim.
Wow.
So yeah, there's cheaper ways to go about it.
Yeah. So there's a number of things, but they also they promise a 300% return.
Interesting.
And I'm like, yeah, this marketing agency, they're good.
Yeah.
They're really good. And they're like obviously in bed with the publisher and the editor and all that. So like, it's like, you know, you pay them, because I'm not like getting like, no one's funding my book. Like I'm personally funding it. So
and there's I found out this technique, how to become a #1 bestseller on Amazon. It's actually like, my friend has it. She's like, all you do is get 100 friends to like give it 5-star, leave a review. There's something like that. She'll get 100 friends and you automatically become an Amazon #1 bestseller.
that's what it is.
Yeah, because
they promised that too in the offer.
It's a
so this offer is trash. I can get this done
probably way cheaper.
Way cheaper.
Yeah, because she told me that. I was like, that's it. She's like, yeah, that's why mine says that. She just told me that. I was like, damn.
So the book, And then more film, more just, having fun, filming stuff, doing more podcasts. We're going to obviously redo the studio, and I'm really excited about that. So hopefully that's done by the new year. And then we'll have a whole new studio to come into.
And then what do you want? So once you redo the studio, like what do you want people to get out of each episode? Like if I was to say you need to go check out JW, it's gonna be
just no. I'm self-branding it now. Justin Wenzel podcast.
Okay, so go to the Justin Wenzel podcast if you want to learn.
So, yeah, it's like a mixture between like entertainment, saying funny shit.
Yeah.
Obviously we're going to put some value and obviously a lot of value and stuff like that out there. But honestly, like I keep a lot of, and I know this sounds like bullshit. Okay. This sounds like total bullshit, but I keep a lot of stuff and like my methods and the way that I teach people, I keep it pretty close to the hip. It's funny because like a lot of guys like blow their load all over their social media. And then like you find out, right, that when you get into their calls and into their curriculum, there's like very little there.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Right. And that's not the case for us. There's a lot of value what we do for everybody on the inside, but because again we're hands-on and we're one-on-one with our with our clients, like in more than you could imagine. I keep everything, so I don't want like a podcast about business and stuff like that. So I like real stories. I like making this a platform for people that I work with and stuff like that. So honestly, I need to pick a direction.
Yeah.
Sobriety, recovery, it seems to be a pretty common thing.
So overdone though.
Yeah.
Everybody does that now.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know yet.
Yeah, you'll figure it out. I think once you
we're at like 50 episodes, 60 episodes.
Nice.
So I'm trying to get to that 100, but we also switched channels.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
So we're doing a long form only channel.
Yeah.
So that's obviously now we're starting all over again. I got my fucking silver plaque and then we started over.
Yeah.
Which is a little hit to the ego, but
sometimes you gotta take a step back.
I'm a millionaire. I don't care.
Yeah, you're
no, I'm kidding.
Right.
So anyways, this was fun.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
We'll do this more. And when we get the new podcast studio all set up, we'll have fun doing it there.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Hell yeah. I love you, buddy.
Man, I love you too, man.